Well, you know, this is as close to a cliffhanger you can get in a podcast.
Yeah, right. Wow. Well,
Well,
I'm
it's
sure
well
someone
worth it
hates us now.
because listen, I don't want to rush it because we've got a few minutes left, and in that few minutes, I want to get to know Sean, who Sean Stone is. Tell us your story. And you know that some of my listeners call this the therapy session. This is where we get to know what really drives you. So tell us, start from the beginning. Tell us, where did you grow up, and give us some of your early life experiences.
Yeah, so I grew up in a place called Thunder Bay, Ontario, in Canada. It's a small city of 100,000 people, and the next closest city in each direction is at least 8 hours by car. Our claim to fame is that we produce the most NHL players per capita of anywhere in the world. And I grew up playing hockey and snowboarding, and enjoying the outdoors, the Great White North, um, the way that any other Canadian kid did.
So, what was the transition to the entrepreneurial numbers, systems, processes? When did that happen?
Um, well, I knew that Thunder Bay didn't have what I wanted, so when I graduated high school, I decided to go to Ottawa, which is Canada's capital. That's where I went to school. I studied business and marketing, and I pretty quickly noticed that the people who get to actually do important things are the ones who spend time convincing people to do things, not necessarily the ones who actually end up sitting around and doing the work per se. And so, whether that's marketing or sales or managing a big group of people to achieve some task. And so, that was kind of what made me think of entrepreneurship in the most, or how I've always thought about entrepreneurship, is the person who can make the judgment calls and get everyone to do what needs to be done in order to achieve a common goal.
Mm.
So, I went to school and I studied that. And then I just thought, okay, well, I don't know if I'll be an entrepreneur right away, but that's definitely the direction I'm going.
So, but this must have been something that you realized even growing up with some of the games you played and some of the interactions you had. It can't be
Yeah.
until you graduated from college.
No, I had a neighbor who was an entrepreneur. Um, and he sold like construction equipment. And so he was a French Canadian guy named Danielle. And he was like the father to the neighbors' kids who we were friends with. And so we would all hang out all the time. And he took me in his big work pickup truck one time, and he had a satellite telephone in there. And I used the satellite telephone while he was driving his truck and called home to be like, "Hey, I'm using a satellite phone." And my mom was like, "What is that?" But nobody had a cell phone back then. Like I was using this piece of technology that nobody had ever even used before. And my mom didn't even know what it was, but I managed to call her from a moving vehicle, which was a very novel concept back in the early 90s, I guess. So yeah, that's I was exposed to an entrepreneur very young in life, but I didn't know that's what he was doing at the time. I just thought I didn't know what anyone's job was, but he gave me a lot of entrepreneurial ideas and told me about saving money and stuff like that. So that was maybe my first exposure to entrepreneurship. And then the other thing is playing hockey in a small place like Thunder Bay. They made you go sell chocolate covered almonds. And the rich kids just got their parents to buy them, and then they had chocolate covered almonds in the house. But my family was just more middle class. So my mom said, "We're going door to door and selling these." And every year I did it, and I would sell through them like that because I just knew, okay, great. I need to go and sell these chocolate covered almonds, and that will pay for my hockey. So great. I like so those are the two things like very early in life that accidentally led to me being an entrepreneur. Because yeah,
Would
just
you
kind of,
say that you received your first entrepreneurial training from your neighbor?
yeah, probably. Yeah, he he told me to he realized that I came back from somewhere and I had extra money, and I told him I was going to give it back to my parents. He said, "No, you keep that for yourself and you save it. You just made a profit." And like I still remember it to this day. He was like, "You just made a profit. You're going to save that profit for later." And I'm like, "Oh." And I guess, it was like 5 or something, and I just yeah, I made a profit, and by accident.
So he made an impact on you.
Yeah, yeah,
You realize that. I mean, you knew that all along.
yeah,
And so this is why you love teaching, because teaching makes an impact, and the impact that this man made on you.
yeah, definitely. I yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone this path. I probably would have worked a manual labor job if I hadn't met him.
Wow. Talk about pivotal moments, huh?
Yeah, right? It's crazy.
That's what life is about. So it's and the funniest thing is you don't get to realize these things that they happened. At the time they happened. He probably told you, that you made a profit, don't spend it, don't give it to your parent. And then you listen and said, oh, okay. And you probably did what he said and never thought about it again. And then as yet, that's when the stars aligned for you.
Yeah. There was that was when I learned a concept that ultimately drives this economy, you know? So it's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love stories like this, and I love trying to, it's you analyze data, and I analyze data. We look at, but we are the data, right? So we don't analyze us. So this is very enjoyable. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Sean. I cannot thank you enough. I'm sure people will follow this.